All right, we are back. Took a little hiatus for there. Took a week off. I was traveling a bit. Went to Chicago. Chicago, man, what a fun city. I had been before, but it was particularly fun this time. It was great, man, and it really had me thinking about the differences between New York and Chicago. And I love New York, I really do, but I don't know, man. It's like the thing I really enjoyed about Chicago, and I think it's because I was with someone who really showed me around, who's a native. It's got a feeling of like community. It's a big city. It's obviously smaller than New York, but it still has that same vibe. But there's a sense of, like I said, community that I really appreciated about it. There was just, I don't know, there's a nice buzz, but it's also got a lot of heart. You know, like New York, and I'm a New Yorker through and through. It seems to be lacking heart lately. You know, there's just something. It's become like fucking Disneyland, and I can't seem to. I don't know. Seeing the juxtaposition of the two, next to each other was pretty crazy. And my neighborhood still has, a lot of heart because it hasn't changed much. But you look at places like, parts of Brooklyn, like Williamsburg, Bushwick, all that. And there's a scene, there's something happening, and Manhattan, there's always something happening. And the thing about New York is that it's forever changing, right? But it's just become like so commercial. It's like condominium after condominium and glass fucking soulless buildings. And I don't know, there was this something in Chicago that I really fucked with. And I love that there's a body of water running through it. That's really cool. And the thing about New York in the summertime and Chicago in the summertime, in New York, everyone's out and like on the weekends, they're out in the Hamptons or they go away somewhere. In Chicago, the city's still buzzing. People get on their boats and go on Lake Michigan and like they have summertime stuff in the city, where as in Manhattan, it's a little quieter, which I don't mind, but I don't know, man. New York has just become, and maybe it's just me, or maybe other New Yorkers can relate to this, but it's not the same, and that's the point of New York. It's always changing, but I don't know. I really fucked with Chicago. New York food, and I mean Chicago. Any food you can get in New York, you could pretty much get in Chicago, and it's got great stuff. I will say I think the food in New York is definitely better. Especially the pizza. Like I had Chicago pizza for the first time, and I thought Chicago pizza was deep dish. Like that's what everyone in New York thinks it's deep dish, and I was like, that's fucking garbage. But I had what I was told is real Chicago pizza, and it's good, but it's more like flatbread. Whereas in New York, it's just different. And then you have Neapolitan, but if I'm talking about like the traditional New York slice, the pizza is still better in New York, like hands down. Hot dogs, however, I think they may take the cake. I fucking love all that shit on the hot dog. That's fire. But yeah, New York, there's so many things that like the other day I read an article about this spot called Hector's. It was a diner in Meatpacking District. And I remember going out in the Meatpacking District when I was a teenager and like sneaking into clubs. And this spot Hector's was there forever. And I read an article that said after 75 years it's closing. They're selling it to the fucking Whitney because it's in the same building as the museum. And I'm like, don't get me wrong, I love museums, but I was like, what the fuck? Like everything, like all the things that have been there forever are just gone. And then there's like another fucking artisanal, whatever, I don't know how to say it right, coffee shop popping up. And don't get me wrong, those liberals know how to make good fucking coffee, but it's like everything just is a carbon copy of a carbon copy. And I just it kills me a little bit. And I was reading, and that's the thing. Chicago, they say New York is walkable. There was another article that I saw of the 10 most walkable cities. New York was number 10. Chicago was 7, and I think the number 1 was Philly. And it makes sense. When I was in Chicago, the person I was staying with, we didn't take a car ever. We either took a scooter, a bicycle, or we walked. And it was fucking great. In New York, if you're in Manhattan, and I took the train in Chicago. Train's fucking good. In Manhattan, you can get around walking easily. And the trains, obviously, in New York are the most garbage, but the most convenient. They take you everywhere. But when you look at Manhattan, the 5 boroughs, they're not walkable. You can't walk from Queens to fucking Manhattan. You know, there's not, if you're, like, the subsects are walkable. But, like, I live in Sheepshead Bay in Brooklyn, and you can't walk from Williamsburg, Brooklyn to Sheepshead Bay. It's not possible. So, like, it made sense when I was like, oh, wow, it really isn't as walkable as you think unless you are on the island of Manhattan. So, yeah, dude, it's a fun time. It's got a lot of history, a lot of beautiful architecture. And like I said, I was being shown it from a different perspective because anytime I've gone there, I went, with other New Yorkers and we got around, but this was a different experience. But I had a lot of fun there. I had a lot of fun, and I met the people there are very nice. Like the Midwestern people are just, they're so much nicer than New Yorkers, and New Yorkers get a bad rep because they're actually, New Yorkers are nice people if you break past the barrier. But yeah, it was a good time. I don't want to get too deep into the weekend, but it was I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fucking fun. And yeah, I came back home and I had some shit happen to me before I left. I hope this is not coming off like a journal, but I'm just going with it. We had to put our family dog down. 10-and-a-half-year-old bulldog. Her name is Allie. She was such a sweetheart. And a couple days before I was leaving, she couldn't walk at all, and we had to take her to the vet. And we didn't think we were going to be putting her down that day, honestly. And we took her, and she got worked up getting to the vet, and then we thought she was going to be all right, but we realized she's probably not going to be walking again. And to have a dog, a fucking 60-pound English bulldog, not being able to walk is a nightmare. And she got all worked up and she got fucked up. And with bulldogs, once you get them worked up at that age, they can go into a total fit. And that's what started to happen. She was just fucking, she was just starting to freak out. And we had to put her down. But the interesting thing is when I came back from Chicago, I had a dream the first night that I was home. Fucking wild dream. That my dad had said to me in the dream. He's like, I killed somebody and you need to take care of the body and get rid of it. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about? He's like, you need to get rid of the body. Go get rid of it now. And I was like, I feel like I should fucking call the cops or something. I don't know. And I was freaking out, and I ended up, chopping up a body. And it was someone I knew, this guy that has no connection to my family, but I knew him. I'm not going to say his name, but and it was the most real fucking thing ever. And I woke up in a panic, dude. Like, I almost woke up crying. Like I fucking was an accomplice to murder. And I was trying to put two and two together, and I realized I realized that it had to do with, I'm pretty sure, putting the dog down, because when you're a kid, right, your parents are supposed to make decisions for you. And I grew up in a household where I was playing parent a lot more than I should have, and I've gotten past that and moved on. I'm an adult, and it's like you get over it. But this is the first time, when we were in the vet's office and the dog was all fucked up. My dad and my mom were hysterical, and I've seen my dad cry, but this was just something else. And my dad looked at me and he goes, what do we do? Like, he basically was asking me to make the call. And I had to make a decision that at 31 years old, I never made a decision like that before. And I still feel like a kid. I'm sure most people can relate to that. Like, I still feel like I'm 16 years old sometimes. And he asked me to make the call, and he was like, what do you think we should do? He's like, and I was like, I think we need to put her down. I think it's the right thing to do. We're not buying months here. We're not buying years. We're buying days and weeks. We're going to be back here. And I was leaving to Chicago a couple days after that. And then after we were all in agreement, I made the call. I signed the papers, and I went in the room with her. My dad was there too. And the fucking most fucked up part was there was a jar of chocolates in the room. And I was like, oh, that must be for people because dogs can't eat chocolate. And above the jar of chocolate, there was there was a sign that said every dog should should know what chocolate tastes like before they cross the rainbow bridge. And I was like, oh my fucking God, that's horrifying. It's like, because obviously we're about to get put down. They can have the chocolate. Yeah, we stayed in the room, and I'm usually the person in my family, and especially that day, I just keep it together. I was always, everyone plays their role in a family. Some people freak out, some people panic, some people, keep it together, and I'm the person that's always kind of kept it together, and when you watch that happen, and you watch the life leave somebody, especially when I'm the one that's playing God here, sort of, I don't know how else to put it. It's if you don't fucking fall apart, then you're a sociopath. Like, it's that simple. Like, I you can't not. And to bring it back around is like, I had a couple days where I was just breaking down, like just fucking falling apart. And then you question, like, did you do the right thing? And I'm usually pretty good at going, no, that was the right move, especially with something like that you can't change. But my mom kept asking, did we do the right thing? Did we do the right thing? And I was like, you can't even fucking ask that question. But the thought does pop in your head, and you have to talk it out real quick. And I was leaving to Chicago a couple days after that, and oh man, I dealt with it for a few days, and I thought I was all right. And then and I was having fun when I was out there. I was fucked up probably more than I should have been, but it was still a great time. And I came home and had that dream. And I was like, oh shit, it's still there. Big time. It sucks losing a pet, man. It really fucking sucks, And it's such an interesting thing. Maybe that's the point of this podcast, is having good times and bad times, and how you could be the happiest you've ever been, but still have some of the worst things that ever happened to you. You talk about, I wrote this on my Instagram. It's like, oh, you think that the Monday that you have to wake up after being hungover and work a job that you hate is the worst day ever. And it's like, no, the worst fucking days are the ones that you never, ever see coming. It's on a sunny Sunday afternoon when you're driving to your dog to the vet and you don't realize you're not going to take her home. But yeah, and then I went away. And I'll tell you, being away in Chicago, it was pretty therapeutic, because the person I was staying with has a dog. This cute little fucking, just the cutest little thing you ever seen. And I spent a few days, sleeping there, and the dog really took a like. I met the dog once before, but like I never spent like more than a day with the dog. The dog really took a liking to me, and I was just fucking squeezing this thing the entire time, and I was sleeping in the bed with this dog, and it was so nice. It was so nice. And I think maybe like in my head, it was like almost kind of therapeutic, where I was able to, after losing a pet, to have to be able to connect with another one was the best thing ever. And when I came home from Chicago, I came home maybe 2-3 days ago now. Laying in bed alone without the dog, and obviously, I sleep alone all the time, and it's nice. But sleeping with a person is great. You have someone next to you that you can hold, and that's really, really beautiful. And when I came home, I missed that, but I also missed the dog being there in the morning. The dog would he would step on my like at 6 o'clock in the morning. He would just walk on top of me like a cat and just like rest himself on there, like hey fucker, like it's time to pet me. And I loved it, man. And when I came home and I didn't have that, I had a harder time falling asleep. I really did. It's pets, man. They're better than some family members. I have family members that are complete fucking garbage, like people that I'm upset that I even share blood with, and then there you have pets who they're the only thing in the world that will love you unconditionally, no matter what. And no matter how bad of a person you think you are, they are going to think that you are it. And it's so, so important to just really appreciate it, because it's so easy to yell at a dog, or, when you're in a rush and they're taking their time. It's so easy to forget that one day this thing's not going to be here. And you sign up for a tremendous amount of heartbreak with a dog. Like when you're born, you don't have a choice of being born. You don't choose your parents. You don't choose your brother or sister. And I'm not trying to be like oh, I didn't choose to be born. No, not that. I'm just saying when you're born, this is who you got. And you know you're going to lose them, but you have a lot more time. And it's kind of there. It's different. With a pet, you go to a place when you're an adult and you choose someone. You choose one of the pets there, and you're like, all right, in 10 to 15 years, this thing is going to break my heart because I'm going to lose it. I'm signing up for heartbreak. You're not signing up for your family dying or anything like that because it's there already. This is a conscious choice that you make. And you know that the heartbreak is going to be tremendous. But the joy is it tops it. It's so fucking worth it. And it's a different kind of love. It really, really is. Yeah, I live alone, so I don't have any pets. This is like my dad's dog, really. But I loved that fucking thing so much, man. She was such a sweetheart. Little fucking hippopotamus, But yeah, it's an interesting thing to have some of the saddest moments of your life in the midst, and I just said it before, but in the midst of having some of the most happy moments of your life. Like I've had moments recently that I've just been like, holy shit, I am just so happy right now. And to have such a tremendous heartbreak in the midst of that, you kind of, I don't know if it's guilt, and I'm hoping other people can relate to everything I'm saying right now, but I don't know if it's guilt or if it's what it is. But you sit there and you're like, I don't want to be so happy right now because of what just happened, but I can't help it. And I was having the day after the dog died, I was having these moments of extreme highs and extreme lows and some guilt because of it. But I guess that's the part of life that you gotta have you can't have the sweet without the sour. And yeah, I've just been kind of just like I did a podcast like 2 days after the dog passed, and I started it and I was not prepared to talk yet. I was just not in the right place. But now I'm feeling ready to speak about it. And I came home from Chicago and I hadn't gotten on stage for a little bit. So I was coming off a high, but I still had, obviously, in my subconscious. That's the interesting thing about dreams. The things that are in the back of your head, you have no idea they're there. They pop up when you're sleeping. But I came home and I started to get very personal on stage, talking about things that happened to me in the past that people know, but I hadn't spoken about it. And this podcast, I mean, this has been the most personal place for me. Like, stage is personal, but it's also supposed to be funny, whereas this, I don't have to try to be funny. I'm just trying to relate. I'm trying to connect with, the fucking void. But, there's a thing about getting personal on stage. I think it's essential. It's the best. It is and I've spoken about this before, but it is, I see people connect the most when you're personal, right? But as open as I am, and as much as I talk about everything, I love my privacy. I do. I spend a lot of time alone, and recently the last couple months I've just been doing topical stuff, a lot of topical information and topical jokes. And I started out like back in September. I was really getting personal, like really, really getting personal. And then I kind of just went in a different direction. But I noticed that was the shit that people love to hear. And now I'm trying to get personal again. And, is it like, how big of an impact am I? And I'm not trying to fucking sound self-righteous stuff like I'm making an impact. No, I know how fucking small I am in the midst of the universe. I'm aware that I am just a piece of, just toilet paper, like a little speck of toilet paper on the fucking ass of life, But that doesn't mean I'm not trying to connect with at least one person. And I'm now having a bit of a struggle of, as open as I am, as most people see, they're like, oh, this guy's got no fucking line. what do I want more? Do I want to help, try to connect and allow my privacy to sort of be shattered with a certain thing that I've started talking about again, which has been, I'm not fucking traumatized at all, but it's still something that I'm like, how do I even make this funny? I haven't, I got to sit and think about the situation. And it's like, the more open I am, the bigger the impact I can make with other people and make them feel better and make them feel like less alone. Am I willing to sacrifice the little private things that are mine in order to connect? And, I even started talking about the dog passing, and I'm like, I'm trying to just, you have moments where you go, is that really funny because it's my story? But it's like, no, people will connect and you'll find a way to make it funny. And especially through the podcast, I think since, like I said, you don't have to be funny. It's a really good way to get to people. And, Robin Williams was like, talks about like, he was always like, I know how bad it feels to hurt. That's why I try to make people feel good. And then I think I'm trying to do something like that. I'm not trying to fucking save the world, but it's nice to feel that way, And I have a lot of pain. Everyone does, and I think it's so important. Like through this or through whatever you're trying to do, whether it's painting or whatever, it's so hard to see the light through a tough experience. And I try to do. I always have. I'm like, yo, you got to laugh through it. You got to make it light and easy and fun. It's the only way to really get over something. And I guess I didn't realize that, like, through just sticking with topical stuff and just saying outrageous shit to say it, I was kind of avoiding opening myself up. I was saying things that other people were scared to say, which I think is cool. But there was also, I'm thinking, some sort of like defense there of like not talking about me as much. And I only figured that out like just very recently. And I think going to Chicago and spending time with someone that I really care about, and connecting with them. And I mean, this person has inspired me a tremendous amount. But being in the same space as them, I was like, maybe, and they were a great help throughout with the dog passing and whatnot. There was something I think that kind of triggered in my head of like, okay, I got to open up. Like I open up with them, but like I got to get open on stage again and just put my heart on the line and go, look, this is here. Meet me halfway. I don't even know if this is making sense right now, but, and I hope this is, fuck it, whatever. It's just coming out. So fuck it, whatever. If you don't like it, eat a dick. But, it's a scary thing, and I'm pretty fearless. I'm not trying to suck my dick here, but I'm pretty fearless on stage. I really am. And it's. I know that the people can't hurt me. At least I've grown out of that. But I think when you're spending time with someone one-on-one, knowing I'm allowing myself for you to hurt me, it makes you more aware of the things you're doing outside also with your work, creativity, and so on, that you go, all right, like if I'm going to allow this person if I can open up to this person who can hurt me directly, I can get back to being as personal as I can and connecting with people, with strangers, And I think spending so much time alone, you lose sight of that. You forget that. But then when your heart opens up to something or someone that makes you feel a lot, it allows you to be more open with the things outside of that, because there's nothing scarier than allowing yourself to be vulnerable with a person. It really is, and I hadn't done it in so long, so it's pretty cool, and it's been a fun little learning experience, And I was talking to someone today, actually. We were talking about deep conversations, and it's like, when you ask somebody, how are you? Their first response is, it's immediately, and the person I was talking to heard this on a podcast, so I'm not like, this is not really an original thing, but I thought it was interesting to talk about. When you ask someone, how are you? There's usually a pause. There's not usually a pause, sorry. There's usually just I'm all right. There's no breath. There's nothing. But if I ask, how are you? And they go, I'm all right. you kind of just okay, go, and you think you're going to respond with all right because you're like, this person's just asking to be polite. Whereas if I were to ask you, how are you? And you took a breath and you thought about it for a second and you go, I'm all right. You would, unless you have Asperger's, you'd go, hey, what's up, man? Like, how's everything? Like, what's really going on? And no one really stops and thinks or does that anymore. And there's just this generation has become so shallow. And it's why I do this. It's why I do comedy. There's no one's having deep conversations anymore. Nobody. And I'm fortunate enough to be doing this. But the other thing is that we're recording this. So it's still different. And I try when I'm with friends to have deep conversation and get there. And I'm like, try to open myself up to it and go, all right, like talk to me and be a really good listener. But it's hard. Not many people want to do it. And that's why, I've met somebody that's, it's cool to have that. It's so cool to have that with someone who's willing to go, yeah, let's have that fucking wide open, deep conversation, because it's not happening. It's just not fucking happening anymore. It's why everyone's talking to ChatGPT all the time. It's why everyone's having conversations with this computer, because they're either too desensitized or whatever to do it with another person. Maybe they're concerned they're going to say too much or whatever. And it's good. I think that the deep conversation should be happening with someone you trust, right? So I just thought it was really interesting that it's like, it's true. No one is, maybe some people are, but it's very rare. And I'm very fortunate to have come to cross paths with someone who is able to do that. And I do it, like I said, I have a couple people that are able to meet me there. It's the thing that makes us most human, I don't know how people can talk to the internet all day and open up through a keyboard. Maybe they're afraid of judgment or whatever. I don't know. But it's interesting. I texted a friend today. I hadn't seen him in a while, and he's off Instagram now, and I hadn't heard from him. And I was like, hey, I texted him. I'm like, and he had reached out to me a bunch when I was going through a really rough time. And I was like, hey, man, are you okay? And he got back to me, and he goes, yeah, man, I'm just really going through it. Haven't hugged myself yet, LOL, which, it's fine. I made jokes. I'm like, if you're going to do it, make sure you jerk off first, and then leave a real mess, haha, whatever. But I was like, hey, dude, I'm here. Like, I am here. You don't got to hide away. I mean, even if you do, I'm here. You can call me. And he goes, I really appreciate that. I just don't want to bug anyone. I'm like, no, you're not fucking bugging anybody. It's important to let people know that you are there, especially if they're kind of just ghosted a little bit. And, that's kind of where I'm at. And, yeah, I would get further on my trip, and I'm going to be doing a couple podcasts this weekend, so I don't want to, this stuff I'll probably chat about on there, but it's really nice to have people around, especially to tie it back into a nice bow. It's really nice just to have people, have pets, have loved ones, because you don't know when they're going to be gone. You really don't, whether it's through death or whether they just want to walk away. And you have to, if that is the case and someone just doesn't want to talk to you anymore, you have to allow it to happen. It's unfortunate. I mean, you could fight in certain ways. I don't believe in like going, no, please, please. I'm more of a like, hey, here are my feelings. I love you very much. I hope you don't. But if you do, then that's what you need to do. That's the path you need. And unfortunately with death, it's a lot more permanent. But you have to appreciate every moment that you have with your pets, with people, and the fun times you have in life. And it's okay to be happy in sad moments. It's okay, I think. And that was a lot. Chicago, New York, the Rainbow Bridge, loved ones, checking in. I think that's where I'm going to leave it. All right. Until next time, thanks for listening, guys. Bye.